different than usual. And I wasn't planning for it to be different than usual until 10 minutes ago. But although there was already the excitement that I'm the only one in the house. Hence why I was singing. So if you didn't just see my little explanation of what's different today on Instagram, I'll tell you now. I'm the only one here. So like 15 minutes ago, I was getting everything ready for the 1:30 live stream, checking my train times to make sure I finish the live stream at the right time so that I don't leave my child stranded in the West End. All good, right. No one's here, so I'm singing. Welcome to my house. And the doorbell went, and I thought, oh no, I've been singing too loudly. And the neighbors, like, it's still a work day, and people on both sides of us work from home. So maybe I'm singing way too loud and they can hear me in their work calls, and that would be awkward. So I turned the music off and I ran downstairs to be like, I'm really, really sorry. And it was not a neighbor. Hey Little Magpie sent me my own collection, what they've got. Now, this is not the whole thing. I haven't opened it at all. I'm going to do it on the live stream. So, yes, I can't remember anything else. We're going to break straight into that in like very quickly. So what is on my desk is that I did do something important. I went and got some journaling done. So this one, I just put gold mist on like 15 minutes ago, so it's not quite dry. So I have to make sure that I put this on the top of a stack. So don't worry, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I did do my journaling, so I'm going to, tell you. So this is a little review of everything that I've made with the July Best of Both Worlds kit. Yes, it's killing me not to open the box. I'll be quick. So I've added journaling here, 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 gold mist, a few more enamel dots. I'm thinking I might go in and put some vellum in around the edges too, because I did on this one, which is going to be the facing page, which I also added journaling to here and here and here. So to make those two just a little bit more flowy, totally a technical design term, I think I'm going to bring in some of this vellum over here. Right. This one must stay at the top of the stack. Right. I did quite a long letter to him about his opening day. Yeah. And I did not actually write out the name of the show there, but his character name's in there. So I might need to blur that if I put it online. Right. So I did that. And then I did journaling on the parade one just a little bit. I'm going to check. I was just getting to looking up the date to make sure which day which day these photos are from when the doorbell went. So I haven't added that yet, but that's what's going to go over here, but just a little bit of journaling up here. Now, the other thing I have not done, more journaling on these two Disney layouts because I've done now a handful of layouts from this trip last October, and I haven't got them organized all in their own album yet, which I need to do that. So I didn't want to put the journaling on because I haven't looked at what else I've written on other pages from the same trip. So little job before I do that, but some progress definitely made. Okay, let me make sure the one with the wet gold mist stays at the top of the pile. Done. Right, here we go. Better do my hashtag advertising speech, and then we're good. Hello! My name, if I can remember it today, is Shimelle. I teach online scrapbooking classes, design scrapbooking products, they're in that box, and help you use them to tell your stories in a creative way. It's not just my hobby, it is my job, and that means anytime I scrapbook on the internet, it's considered advertising, especially when I walk you through a whole bunch of products I just designed. And legally, I need to make sure that you're aware of that. Thank you so much for watching my hashtag advertising. I appreciate you being here, whether you're live, whether you're chatty, whether you're quiet, whether you watch from Tomorrowland, whether you scrapbook, whether you don't, even whether you buy the collection or whether you don't, but I super duper 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 appreciate everybody who does. But you don't have to. You're still welcome here. Right. Is that every box ticked? You can find links to all of this stuff in the box. They have it now at scrapbook.com in stock. in stock at Cherry on Top. I have affiliate links to both of those places in the box below. And the new Best of Both Worlds kit for September, that'll go live this Friday, and there will be some of this in it, but I can't tell you what because it'll depend on what has enough inventory at scrapbook.com on Friday. Y'all have already sold out the purple glitter thicker alphabet. They're Fitzgeralds, but for some reason they're not called Fitzgeralds anymore. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. That made my day, because the number of years that I was like purple thickers, and then purple thickers, purple thickers, purple thickers. Yes, and they sold out straight away. Made my day. Right, let's open this box. Now, big deep breath. So the process for this is quite long. So I designed all this a long time ago. Okay. This is the first time I'm going to see it in real life. Okay. So today is going to be rambly and long, and I'm going to tell you all sorts of things behind the scenes. And then if you're not here for rambly and long and you would like more concise information, I'm going to do an edited video where I will, you know, present myself like a professional and not my own girly fangirl. Because that's what I am today. I'm being very careful here. I'm going to take the box off the table because I'm saying I'm being very careful here not to knock off the sea monkey tank, which is right there. So let's just take this all out and very carefully remove pizza box from vicinity of marine tiny crustaceans, marine life. Okay, that's much safer. Okay, so we have these, we have these, we have these. I have this. Okay, words. Right. I know some people like, I'm so happy. I know some people like embellishments first, but I like paper first, so I'm going to do paper first, but then I just got all verklempt about the purple glitter thickers. They're exactly the purple I wanted. Oh. Oh. Oh, figment. Yeah. Dragon, purple dragon of my heart. There you are. Okay. And it's not actually the color of figment. That's a long story, but I see the letters and I think figment. Just roll with it. Just roll with it. Okay. So we don't have quite all of the papers here. Because their whole order hasn't arrived yet. I love that this one was on top. That's really important. Okay. Get it together, Shimelle. Right. You're adorable in the comments. Thank you. Okay, so first thing we have, I should have put white underneath this so you can see it. This is the specialty paper. It's vellum, not acetate, because I prefer vellum to plastic. So it's a white vellum with a little gray dot in the background to give you texture. It's colorful cameras with smiley faces and flashes and gold foil. Some of you know that I got really a little sad when in my last collection I wasn't allowed to have camera motifs. And my last collection, for those of you who have come along new since then. So my last collection with American Crafts was January 2020, which means I finished it in 2019. And yeah, there were certain things that I had in all of my collections that you didn't see in the last collection because they wanted more variety. And it was very hard for me because they are some of the things that are just really key to my design aesthetic. And one of them is cameras. So there are multiple camera prints. I mean, spoilers, but that's not even it. There's more. More! Okay, So, yeah, right. And there's comments in the chat. I feel the chat is going to go quickly today, and that's okay. If something that you wanted me to answer goes by and I don't see it, go ahead and type it again with a big question at the front, and that's fine. So there was the question, Auntie Caffeine said, didn't you have purple thickers with Sparkle City? This deserves a little explanation. So Sparkle City, which is the most purple of any collection I've ever designed, it had a lot of pink, purple, navy. It had light blue letter thickers with like a holographic line in them. And it had the silver holographic script phrase thickers. And then it had a flat sticker, which said in all the marketing material, purple glitter letters. But they were pink. When they arrived, they were pink. All the marketing said purple. They were pink. And they were flat. And so I really like websites that have reviews. You're quite right to then go in and say, it says they're purple, but they're pink. That's an excellent review. But it still is really like, when that means then you're going to mark it down to, not you personally, just a general you. You're going to mark it down to 1 star because it's not what you ordered. And while I feel your pain, also then that makes, it doesn't actually help me get purple the next time around. It's really weird. So yeah, so I haven't ever had a purple alpha before. That's the answer to that. Okay, cameras. Yes, and Sophia has already explained in the live chat why cameras are really important to my design aesthetic. Cameras are the one thing that unites all scrapbookers and all stories that we're telling, because we all are scrapbooking our photos. So we all have a camera in some way. Yeah. So yeah, I said from the beginning with this collection, I said, it'll have cameras, it'll have rainbows. This is me. It'll have butterflies, it'll have wood grain. And they were like, okay, cool. So here we are. So I'm very excited about that. Okay, then the reason I got a little emotional that this paper is on top. So there are 2 pieces in here that are pixel for pixel from the opening pitch. One of them was meant to be a finished piece, and one of them was actually meant to be a draft because I hadn't quite finished it when I sent in my first kind of outline of this is where I feel like I'm going with this. What do we think? And then actually everybody in the room thought that the one that was a draft, actually they liked it anyway. And we adapted it into the illustration style. So I'll tell you the story of 2 things. No, not under new management. So this was the very first thing that I drew for the whole collection. And this was where I had this name, Main Character Energy was my name from the beginning. And I wish I had set it up to be picture in picture, and I forgot. Yeah, so the phrase main character energy, I find it really interesting because on certain parts of the internet, it's considered an insult, and on other parts of the internet, it's a compliment. But if you have been around my scrapbooking over like my eras of scrapbooking, I have always said that we need to scrapbook our own stories. Now, I realize that now, if you've just come into my story in this era of my life, the Taylor Swift fans are like, this is a stretch, Shimelle, but you know what I mean. Then you see me scrap my kid a lot because that is part of my story right now. But I scrapbooked for a long, long time before I was married, before I had a child. So I definitely place a huge value on scrapbooking yourself. And I have talked about that for years and years and years. And for those of you who will go way back, does anybody remember, hold on. way back to Angie Peterson did a book, a scrapbooking idea book called The Book of Me. And I didn't know it. I designed some layouts and contributed some notes for the book. I didn't know it until they published the run, that my layout was going to be on the front cover. And because it's all pages about us, our stories, it's a page with me like climbing a fence at university. Yeah, and so everyone goes through an artsy university phase where they have somebody take pictures of them climbing fences in dance clothes, right? Totally. Anyway, that's the picture of me that's on the front of that book. And it's been really core to my beliefs all the way through scrapbooking, because I do have this background where I went to, the first crop I went to in the UK, I brought my album from the US that I'd made at college with stuff that I bought at Walmart and Big Lots. And I took it to a crop over here, and people looked at me and went, but you're not married and you don't have kids, so what do you have to put in a scrapbook? And I was destroyed. I would not be now. I was not 3 days later. But in the moment, I never thought I would meet scrapbookers with that idea. And so I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. I was shocked. I thought these were my people. These were not my people. I did not know where I was going, what I was doing, what. I just wanted the world to swallow me in that moment. And so I have never forgotten that feeling and wanting to make sure that people understand that viewpoint of one person who unfortunately opened her mouth in a very unkind way, that is not what scrapbooking is. And it is absolutely more than okay to be the main character in your story. Okay? You get to tell it the way you want to tell it, the things that are important to you. So I wanted to take that term and say, you can define it however you want in any situation, but in a scrapbooking sense, it is a positive trait. That this is your story, you are the main character, and you deserve to have your story in those albums. This is something I could stand on a soapbox and preach about all day long. If you don't write it down, who's going to write it down for you? So that's why I'm here. That is like how I got to this point, and that's it. So this name coming back. And yeah, there's people in the live chat explaining like how main character is an insult and that it doesn't mean this. It doesn't. But I even don't like when people use it as an insult for something else. So if you don't hang out on corners of the internet where it's been used as an insult, it means somebody who makes everything about them. Which, yeah, that's not a great personality trait where you listen to something with no empathy and no sympathy and you make it all about you. That's not cool. But the phrase in itself to me is just a joyous celebration of saying, you know, my story is worth telling. So that's why I wanted it to be the name of the collection. And I didn't know when I pitched it if they would be like, no, because this has kind of two sides. And but they were like, okay, I'll hear you out. And so this piece that says you are the star of this story, that's where I started. I drew that while WB was at ballet. I color matched this to the ballet slippers, not his because his aren't pink, but the girl who was sitting next to me waiting to go into her class. I color matched the peach of her ballet slippers. So yes, the very first piece I did involved peach and navy. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So I started with this. I fully expected it to either A, disappear, or B, completely redrafted. And that is the original piece as it is, and I hope you love it as much as I do. This is the other one that was from that same day, and this one was not intended originally in my mind to be complete because I did this as like a watercolor style. It's not actually with watercolors, but a watercolor style sketch in the background, and with the intention of I will come back and illustrate that globe in a more accurate way that wouldn't necessarily be with watercolors. And instead, the designer I was working with came back and said, but what if we keep that watercolor element and we put it in things like this, and we make our watercolor rainbows look like they've been drawn almost in like a childlike kind of paint way. And then we went back to the fact that we used some chalk textures or crayon textures in box of crayons, and we put them in here, and that made everything else kind of come together. So it ended up staying pixel for pixel, and I never went back and redid the globe to match, you know, kind of this sort of illustration style. I kept it like that, and I like how it ended up filtering through, and it was a great thing. Also, have you spotted my Disney reference? Do we know this piece? There's room for everyone in this world. Spread out and make some room. That was much louder than I thought. It's from Pete's Dragon. So it makes me very happy. Okay, right. So these are 3x3, and you can cut them apart, of course. And then 3x3 patterns that appear elsewhere in the collection, but shrunk down. And this was because we don't have this 6x6 anymore. We have a 6x8. We don't have the 6x6, which would take the 12x12 and make everything that quarter scale. So I went with, could we do them like this and bring the scale down so you don't have a whole 6-inch square of the patterns in smaller pieces, but you at least have something where if you need the pattern to not be as big in order to make things like labels and different sorts of tags or little tucky type pieces, where like if you take the big version of a floral and you cut it into a label, you don't have a flower anymore. If you cut this into a label, you have a flower. Yeah? So there we go. Yes, good for backing cut files where you've got little openings of things. Yeah. So a variety of different patterns here, shrunk down. And I've tried to make sure that our branding strips are all useful. So here you've got wood grain with bubbles of the color scheme throughout of the whole collection. So you've got all of that. That one is called Ensemble Cast. Right. I saw one that went by that said, question. Scrappy Guy says, how difficult was it not to say anything about this during live streams over the creation process? So bloomin' difficult, especially when, hello, Georgia. One day somebody was like, you need to change your speech because you don't design product anymore. And I was, the very night before somebody said that, I had been up really late refining some bits where we'd kind of gone back and forth and we needed to make decisions. We needed to get things like gradients and details in and just get them finalized. And so I think it was on a Friday version that somebody said that, because I remember it being like morning and I was tired and I was like, I did not need to read that. Did not need to read that comment. But the thing about typed comments is, of course, that you read them in the tone of voice with the context that you are, that you're holding. So they could have just been like, it's time for a new speech that's accurate to what you're doing. And they could have said it in a super sweet tone in their head. But in my head, all I heard was, girl, you ain't designed no product, which was way over the top. But I was exhausted and designing, and all I wanted to do was to say, I am. I really, really am. Anyway. So this floral is called Prettiest Pick. And one of the things that has been flagged up by Sophia particularly, but by some other people too, all of the florals in this collection, they are non-overlapping florals. So if you are a fan of detail cutting, it should be nice and easy for you. So you can cut out as many little individual pieces as you want because they've all got space in between them. Yeah? Okay. Turquoise, polka dot, just super duper duper useful. And a yellow floral, just simple, but yellow floral border strip, because look how easily this background, not with that particular floral, where's one that would be a great partner for it? Hold on. Oh, even that one. So you could do, if you wanted to have really bold focus on the photos, you could have these two that are kind of a swimming pool color, and then run your yellow flowers down the middle and have some yellow accents here and there. Yeah. Okay, so that is prettiest pick. Sunshine guaranteed. Blue sky and sunshine guaranteed. And don't worry, Georgia, there is absolutely no requirement to do detail cutting. It's just there as an option. And yes, I do still design stamps. I've got, for those of you who keep track of stamps and things like that, the Christmas stamp pre-order, the order's gone in, but the stamp company have said I can pick my number of how many stamps they need to press the day that it goes. So I've gone ahead and kept the pre-order open until I get that call where they'll call me up and say, right, how many are we making today? Then I'll go in and cancel it, cancel taking pre-orders. But until so my order's gone into them, but until it comes up next in the manufacturing line, I don't have to close it, which is like a great thing for all of us. Right. So sunshine guaranteed is a lovely rainbow. Am I allowed to say things like lovely? Anyway, a youthful take on rainbows, but I don't think you have to use it for kids, but it is one of the patterns that feels the most kid-like, and I love that element. And you've got a mix of both like an actual spectrum aligned type rainbow, and then the kind of fantasy versions with, you know, purple, green on the top, that sort of stuff. Also clouds and stars and sunshines. Yeah? And this tonal, you can see it's not purple. This is more where we get into the what is pink and what is purple. This is pink. This is purple. So the lighter tone here is an actual pale pink, and then this is a magenta. Yeah, but it's they're not actually sunshines. It's a bigger dot surrounded by small dots, not actual rays. Does that make sense? If I can hold it really still, which I'm having trouble doing. They're all dots rather than any other shape. Okay. And then you've got the little tiny version of the rainbows up here. So you could use that as a shelf border to do shelf composition. I'd love to see this in a shelf composition because there's a blue sky paper coming up, and you could have the blue sky up here. You could have maybe the wood grain stripe down here. Maybe we just have to do that straight away and use the rainbows as your shelf. Yeah. Oh, I love that Casey is teaching Sebastian how to detail cut. He looked at her like it was magic, but also that she was crazy. Yay. Amy is not a fan of the detail cutting because it reminds her too much of cutting out all the lamination for school. Okay, so Auntie Caffeine, who was confused about the pink letter stickers being purple. Georgia says we should just call this the dotty dot paper. I like it. Dotty dot. And Auntie Caffeine says, I would say this is a red violet, not a pink. Yeah, so the pale shade still reads as pink. And then, yes, it has some violet in it, but it's definitely closer to magenta than purple. Yeah, cool. It's warm. Yeah, this purple is cool. That's warm. Okay, Look Up is a leaf print. Is pretty simple, leafy goodness. And then this teeny tiny grid. Am I gonna go a little retro Sasa and try and, you know, capture the 2011 glory days of scrapbooking? I'm just picking a year that's close. I'm an old lady now, so, you know, I may be misjudging when that was, but I used a lot of teeny tiny grids in a particular era, and I used them with mist and watercolor, and that phase I went through where I sprayed mist into my acrylic paint and then painted with it. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. This one is called Look Up. Branding strip here is the leaves, but this time in nice clean pairs, where here they are overlapped. Nobody's cutting that out. Tell me you're not cutting that out. Don't cut that out. Yeah, here they're in a border for you. Can you recognize the format of this cut apart? It's the one from Starshine, like the blocks are in the same place. And I want to say that I then kept that same format for a few more collections. Yeah. Auntie Caffeine says she's learning all about color theory today. That's all right. And oh, Amanda says on the dotty dot paper that this reminds her of how I do like a little sunshine to mark out the embellishments on my sketches. I didn't even think about that, and I love it. Yeah. Alana says she loves it, in capital letters loves it, and that I, of course, would have put out an amazing collection in a year. She wasn't buying anything for a whole year. She has ordered 2 of everything except the paper pads, but just 1 of those. Amazing. So yes, this cut apart format, I don't know that it existed for any of the other AC designers, but it was always my favorite. So when we went through the different cut apart options, it wasn't in there, and I was like, can we go back to my favorite one, because I love it like a lot. And they're like, oh yeah, of course we can. So we have flowers, handwritten happiness, navy, red, yellow combination tucked in here. I'm just going to highlight that there are some primary color elements in here for you that you might not notice, because I also put in a lot of turquoise, pink, purple combinations. But there is some primary color fun happening. A ruler that should be accurate. It's a 12-inch ruler on a 12-inch paper. It's pink wood grain here. A strip of the rainbow wood grain. Different postage stamps. None of them have a country or a currency number on them. So that hopefully they feel universal to you that way. A lot of them have the number 23 so that you could use them for 2023. But you don't have to, obviously, because it could just be 23 pence, cents, pesos, yen, whatever you want. Yeah, it could be somebody who is 23. I'm not sure I know. Well, I suppose someone I know is 23, but not like very, very, not someone in my closest circle. Right. Right. Some tabs with a little bit of stitching there. In 2 different colors here. These boxes, hearts and lightning bolts. Labels across here. Anything you see that is a script like this, that's all my own handwriting. And then this kind of print, the doodly print, that's all my own handwriting too. So anything that, the only things that look like, the only things that are fonts rather than handwriting are the things that look necessarily like fonts. Does this make sense? Like the typewriter is obviously a font, and these like blocky these three here are fonts. But if it looks like it could be handwritten, it is. Okay, we got more sunshines here. Labels to cut apart, arrows, tags to cut apart. So just lots and lots of stuff. So that you could go ahead and cut this whole page up the moment you get it and turn it into a little bowl of embellishments to stick on all your pages. So get all your little bowls of stuff out. Yes. This one is called Behind the Scenes, by the way. And then here's why you need maybe multiples of this paper, because I'm going to tell you, cut this apart as soon as you get it, but also purple B-side. It's just purple with white stars. It's not complicated. It doesn't have a texture. It has no paint splashes. It's just joyful purple with white stars. Because I went back and forth about whether we should make it complicated, and I came back to, no, let's not make it complicated. Yeah. So purple with white stars and pink wood grain with white watercolor clouds. There we go. That's behind the scenes. Yeah. Here's clouds. It's not going to be my collection unless there's clouds. Has to be a cloud print. This one can definitely work for snowiness, but also just clouds. So you can do either with it. You can decide that these are like literal snowballs falling out of the sky. And I look forward to seeing it on wintry pages like that. Or you can just decide that they're happy little bits of texture, because there's also a texture on here with teeny tiny version of that same sort of thing happening. So this with the rainbow strip there, and then the wood grain, what we haven't seen yet, is coming up. So this one is called Blue Skies, and then this makes me very happy too. So I've done a similar pattern to this before, but nowhere near this amount of color. And I'm loving the color. Little bluebirds of happiness up here. I am going to put this on my Journal Your Christmas suggested supply list this year, but if you don't do winter and it only says snow to you, then you're going to leave that out. Just a heads up there. Yeah. Okay, so that's Blue Skies. What? She did a butterfly paper? Yeah, a butterfly paper with butterflies that have hearts on them. Because why not? So yeah, there's little hearts hidden, not on every butterfly, but on a lot of butterflies. They don't overlap. So should you wish to cut them out, you may. It's not required. If it's Georgia, she's not going to do it, and that's going to be okay. This one is called Fly High. It has a lot of different colors, and it's on a pink, not peach. This one is pink, dotty background. Okay. And this is the background that has that plaid, and then it has one little heart butterfly in a line. As your border strip, and the butterfly that's up here is in these colors, so you could mix that with this super easily. Cool. Chris has already done an order, but now watching this feels like she needs to place another order to get more single sheets. Yeah, that's Fly High. Zoomin. This one's called Zoomin. I've done these sorts of patterns in a few collections with like different motifs, but they're arranged in a rainbow order. They're always some of my favorites. And this time, instead of having lots of different objects, we just went with all cameras in rainbows. And then the cameras are talking. So they all have little handwritten sentiments that just make me happy. Yeah. There's a little bit of overlapping. We tried it with and without. And so some of them, like this one here, would be nice and easy to cut out if you wanted. That one would be 2. That one would be fine. But see, here we've got some overlap. Yeah, to pull the rainbow together, we needed to overlap some. Yeah. So, Orangina has put in a second order, she must confess, and she may be a reason that the alpha thickers are sold out. Sorry, not sorry. You are all good. Sarah, I haven't gotten to the Scandi papers yet. You're good. Tonal purple. So let me show you the difference. The tonal pink. This lighter pink is definitely a different color than this. Yeah? So if I do it that way, can you see that this is warmer? And my red nails are not helping there, but there we go. Right. And did I say there were multiple camera designs? There's multiple camera designs. So there's also this little camera doodle that has hearts in the lens. Yeah. And then, yeah, tonal purple. Yeah, that's Zoomin. This one, which if you have everything from Never Grow Up, you have something that's very similar, not identical, but pretty close. So there is a rainbow ledger in Never Grow Up. I found it to be the most useful paper, the one I wanted to keep coming back to. And so I straight away said, I want to do that paper again, but in the colors of this collection. So, you know, I don't believe that we always have to reinvent the wheel. I think sometimes when you have something and you know it works, you keep doing it. And so it's got a little splash of pink in the corners, just 3 corners. And then the colors of this collection, and the main lines here are magenta. Yeah, so this is called Read Through. And then the B side is the tiny, well, it's actually not the tiniest floral. It's a small floral, and they're fried egg flowers. So they're just 2 pieces to the flower, one outside cloudy, you know, roundy round shape, and then a circle in the middle. But it's a smaller scale, so definitely designed to put into boxes, or if you have 2 sheets of this, or you're clever at gutting papers, this as the outside 12 by 12, and then cut this down to 10 by 10 or 11 by 11 so that you have this as the frame at the outside. And then you can even mat the ledger in a tonal color of one of the things here. So you could do it in the turquoise or the navy, or there's a green, or there's this purple. There's even a peach in here. So you could choose which color that you wanted to emphasize. And so you could mat the ledger box so that you have this frame of the floral. And then a little handwritten piece at the top that says, "Believe in kindness." A very loopy one with all the loops I could fit in. Then here is the wood grain that I said was coming up. So again, some things I really like. We did this in Glitter Girl, where we had a wood grain and rainbow stripes over the top, and I loved it then, and I wanted it in these colors too. So this is called Line Leader. It's not the identical wood grain, it's a different wood grain, but it's the concept of a wood grain plus a rainbow stripe. So the combination I was saying was put the clouds at the top, and then use this rainbow to make a shelf across there. So these 3 together, beautiful, in my humble opinion. Yeah, so refreshed colors. Then here it's on a white wood grain, because that was something else that we looked at, was going, do we want it on a brown wood grain? Do we want a white wood grain? I went on brown, but then we kept the white version here so that you can have that as a lovely little border strip somewhere. And then this is just a lovely dot grid on olive green. And if you compare it to the one in Sparkle City, which also had one solid, like one tonal green B-side, This one is a little more dull. So this is more pea soup compared to that one. But it's just got a little less yellow in it. Yeah? Okay. So that's line leader. How am I doing for time? I'm good. A 3x4 cut apart, but with some extra pieces. So this one obviously is a 3x4 box here, but you could cut that into the 5 separate labels if you like. And this one, how many do you get? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. You could cut this one into 16. Oh, yeah. My eyes did a little trick there and they were like wobbling. I was like, are they even? Yes, they are. So you could have 16 small pieces here. Also, this one, you could use this box with the writing so that you've got words on the vertical, or you could cut it apart and use this as your journaling box and this is something else. Yeah. Elaine says this looks like British Racing Green. I feel like this is lighter than British Racing Green. Yeah. Because it's not quite a bottle green. I have a bottle of sparkling water to the side of my desk and it's not that green. The bottle is brighter. But maybe maybe this is just a lighter shade of British Racing Green. That's yeah. Okay. Lots of things to write on and lots of them that can go either direction. Yeah? So this has horizontal lines. This one and this one have horizontal lines. This one, they're the other way. And then these are grid, 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 so they can go any direction. You could always just cut this off to use this piece on its own, or you can have the words go up the side. And then this one and this one are open, so they can go whichever way you want them to. Obviously, they do have these pieces, but you know what I mean, that you've got some freedom in there. AJ says it's go away green. Hilarious. Yeah, Georgia is feeling that British Racing Green's also darker. Yeah. Yeah, so a lighter shade. But that same sort of color family for sure. Then, it's turquoise or aqua on like where navy and purple meet on the spectrum. So indigo. Yeah, I think with whatever you put it with, you can make this work toward the navy or toward the purple. Because it's that mix of right where the tones match. So here is the purple and here is the navy. So you can see it is actually closer to the navy than the purple, but it's not identical to this navy. It is a little bit more toward the purple. Cool. Don't bend, don't crease, don't crease. Right, so this paper is called Highlighted Script. This one is called Big Debut. And yes, this was completely finished and turned in before someone's big debut, or I probably would have saved that name for a paper with a different color combination. But it's okay. It's on peach. So yeah, peach background, yellow and orange in the floral with this blue combination. I'm not going to do ink matching today, I don't think, but I might just do the peach. But soon I'll do ink matching across everything. It doesn't overlap, so you can have little sections. Yeah, I mean, see, you'd need to include that unless you want to cut around there, which you could. But each one does eventually become free. So that, like this one and this one and this one, that's a whole piece there. I don't know what I'm saying now. Peach floral strip here, just little white daisies on peach with orange centers. And a stripe in Dear Evan Hansen blues. I don't know if it says Dear Evan Hansen to anybody else, but it does to me. Dear Evan Hansen blues. It also reminds me of just, I don't know, granddad polo shirts in the 80s. Okay. That's big debut. Sunshines! This one is called Face the Sun. It's about as close to me going for fine art inspiration. This is not fine art. I'm not saying that, like, my collections we don't go there. But you can totally see the, like, oh, she might have looked at Van Gogh's sunflowers once or twice in her life because of the color palette and the texture. So it's got a paintbrush texture in the background, and then the sunshines on the top. But could also be used as sunflowers if you prefer that. You know, you can take the girl out of Kansas, but you can't take the Kansas out of the girl. And orange on the back with a wobbly line and a dot. Auntie Caffeine had a velour t-shirt that looked like the blue stripes in the 90s. Oh, that angle on my screen is making this orange look more brown. It is not a brown type orange. It is most definitely orange. Yeah. Okay. And then white suns on yellow up here at the top. Cool. So that's called Face the Sun. Elaine says maybe Starry Night should be next. You know what did make me laugh? Because I don't know did this make the news across the world or just in our country? But a while ago, some protesters threw tomato soup at sunflowers in the National Gallery. The painting's okay. It's behind glass. They damaged the frame and they were fined for that. It was all very bizarre. And yeah, anyway. We'd already turned this in. We'd already figured it out. And when it hit the news that day, I was like, oh, but my sunflower paper has a B-side that's the color of tomato soup. I was not involved. It's not me. Okay. There we go. Right. So that's Face the Sun. After Hours. This is called After Hours because it's inspired by the pattern that the TV used to go to when Nickelodeon changed from kids to adult programming, when it went from Nickelodeon to Nick at Night when I was a kid. But I referenced nothing except my memory. So it probably looks nothing like the things that came on the screen, but this is what I remember in my head. Sometimes I do that with design. I feel like, so this is what we want to do. This is what it reminds me of. But my memory is probably wrong, so I'm not going to show you the real thing because I don't want to go and look at it and ruin the memory, because the memory is beautifully visual. Now, I have done a paper that, in fact, I've done 2 papers in previous collections that were inspired by the actual, when TV used to just cut off and you got a solid static image, not the static, but that you got just one. I've done one of those papers too, actually. I did black and white static. But you used to just get that one picture that they would broadcast when they weren't broadcasting other stuff. I've done that in previous collections, but this was actually like when it moved across the screen, when it transitioned from kid stuff to, it was family stuff first, but yeah. Lori says it reminds her of CBS or ABC special presentation logos. Yeah, I feel like maybe all of those memories are just mixed together in my mind. But yeah, that's why it's called After Hours. And then, did I mention I like sunshine? is a different twist on the sunshine pattern. So this one has triangle rays, and it also fits really well with what we discussed in the last live, because this design makes me feel, it makes me remember a lot about potlucks and church cookbooks and like the designs on people's Pyrex and Tupperware. It's not the design on my Pyrex. I have a set of Pyrex here that we use every day, and it's the same. The set that we have, the pattern we have, is the same. It came out the same year as our house was built, so it's the Carnaby pattern is the one we have over here. I mean, over here in my house, not over here in this country. But yeah, so a different kind of sunshine, and it just reminds me of things that come from that situation. Plus, orange and magenta lightning bolts, because why not? Okay, Scandi stuff. Are they both here? I don't have all the papers. Okay, so I don't have a couple of the ones that that people have mentioned will be harder for them to use. Okay. Oh, Orangina thought this looks like serving birthday cake slices at a table, like the triangles that you take out of the circle. I like that. I like that. Sandy says it would be a great paper that she could tell the story of her pink Pyrex. See? Yes, yes. Prop table is a Scandi design. Yeah, but I don't have prop table. Yeah, I don't have it. I don't have them all because Halo Magpie don't have them all yet. So I have Sing Out, which is very Mary Blair and Scandi in feeling, also Orla Keeley. Kylie? Keeley. I think it's Keeley. And I did once hear her speak in person, and now my brain is failing me. I might have energy about other things here. Right. Scrappy Guy says that's exactly what someone who throws tomato products at fine art would say. I promised I would never throw tomato products at the fine art. Okay. I mean, you know that I'm safe, because would I ever do something that would get me banned from a museum? Because I cannot cope with that ever. You know, museums are my safe zone. All the important life-changing days of my life, I have gone to a museum for solace. Some people go to church. Apparently I go to museums. It took me a lifetime to realize that, but it's very true. It's where I go. Okay. So Sarah's like, what can I do with this? Okay. And so number one, Sarah again is going to be a little like, rah, because it's very busy as a 12 by 12. Yeah. And the reason it's busy, one, it does have quite a few colors for a design like this. It may not actually feel like a lot of colors, but if we start counting them, there's the black and the white. There's also a green, a blue, an orange, a pink, a red, a purple. Do you see where I'm going with this? There's a lot of color in this little tiny pattern, where Orla Keeley would never use, I'm sure it's Keeley now, would never use this many colors in her vine patterns altogether. She would have like 2, maybe 3. Okay, so bring it into smaller sections. So take a 4 by 12 horizontal piece and put it at the top of your page. Take a literally 1 by 12 strip vertically and start in that direction, rather than looking at it as a big piece like that. Okay. The other reason that it feels very busy, not only does it have that many colors, it's not it is a repeating pattern, but it's not a simple, like, it's not this kind of repeating pattern, which is a polka. It's not this kind, which is a vertical repeat. Yeah, we go all the way across. Yeah, these have order, and they feel like we know where the next piece is going to come. The repeat in this is enough skew-if that you're like, I don't know which flower is going to come where. And that's why to some people it will feel overwhelming. But it will be okay. You just need to bring it down into smaller pieces. Okay? And I will demonstrate with you. It's all good. And who just said that? Macon says, it reminds me of the Small World ride at Disney. Yeah, when I say it's Mary Blair inspired, Mary Blair is the artist behind It's Small World. So that's not a coincidence. Yep. And then this feels like, if this is Orla Keeley, this is Kath Kidston. So let's just go through British handbag designers of the last 20 years. And we have them both here on one paper. So there's a bit of texture to these corners. You see that yellow kind of distressing a little bit. That's not damaged. That's actually printed. And then you got teeny tiny, so we call this a ditzy floral when they're little like that. So easier to use as a big background and build on top. Also, this one is going to be your friend if you want to go more toward the primary colors, because you've got a red flower, a blue flower, and a yellow flower. You do also have pink and green, but this is going to be easier for you to then emphasize the red, blue, and the yellow if you want that sort of thing. If you like primary colors for primary school kinds of things, and you've got a little kid going off to kindergarten, and especially if they're in a cute little summer dress, I am here for that page being made with this. Then a purple branding strip up here, which doesn't really go with this particular pattern, but obviously goes with other things in the collection. Okay? That one is called Sing Out. Well, I suppose you would sing out. I sing out on It's a Small World. I was actually going for America Sings, which is a niche Disney park reference, but there we go. Sing Out. Sing Out, Louise! Right. Do you know as a child, Gypsy, Sing Out Louise, that was the only person I knew called Louise. And I didn't realize that the name Louise in the UK is kind of like the Jennifer for my generation in America. So I knew a lot of Jennies and Jennifers growing up. That same age group over here, they're all called Louise. And so I went from knowing no one called Louise to knowing like half a dozen people called Louise in the space of a week. It was so weird. But the first two that I met, I was like, how wild is this? There's two people here called Louise, and the only Louise I've ever known growing up was this person who is a fictional character. There we go. Oh, Lori loves America Sings. Yay. Okay. This one's called No Troubles, and it's a more organic bubble take on a patterned dot. That teeny tiny grid is there in the background. Some of the bubbles have other patterns that appear. This has the hand-drawn hearts, and they've got little paint strokes to them. So we didn't go full out mixed media for anything, but this is like the most that feels like there's an actual paintbrush to it. Yeah? Ink splats, that sort of thing. This is called No Troubles. The B-side is a composition notebook from America kind of fill, which we also had in Field Trip, but this time in a nice sky blue. Elaine's primary school best friend was a Louise. She's still friends, and they were like twins and loved Mallory Towers books. That's so wholesome. Debbie had an Aunt Louise. Oh, are we talking about free museums? Yes, there are a lot of free museums in London, and then also I have more museum memberships than any one person ever needs to have, and I have no regrets about that. Okay, this one's called Tune In, and this is more like the thing that they used to put across the TV when they were off air, but in big thick stripes of this collection colors, and it's got that dotted texture. There you go. Hopefully you can see that. It's across the whole thing. You can't see it in the hot pink as much, but it is there. different things you can do with this. You can cut it into strips of any width to give yourself a rainbow element to put on the page. Or if rainbows are not your thing, you're probably not watching my videos because you've probably gone off me by now. But anyway, if they're not your thing and for some reason you're still here, thanks. You could use this as a really useful piece to go with the rest because you've got the colors that match the collection. So if you want to die cut stuff, you want to use a cutter of any kind, electric or manual. You want to punch stuff, you want to, you know, cut a title out of something or your accents, and you need the color to match anything else in the collection, this is your workhorse. Yeah, because you can just cut into all of these, whatever shapes you need. And then I love a sky like this. It's looking a little more harsh on my screen than to my eyeballs. Maybe my vision is just going again. No, it's, but anyway, it's a mix of dots and 5-point stars on a navy background with purple stars in the mix. And then use your imagination across the top. See, figment. How many papers total? 24. Ah, Sandra says in the TV industry, we called them color bars. Brilliant. Thank you. Color bars. And this is the last one that I have. It's called One of a Kind. It has this little guy who's just lovely. I didn't draw that one, I can say that. We've got different sizes of journaling spaces. We've got a portrait one here. We've got some tags here. We've got little strips to cut apart here. I hope that you like these sentiments. You're a limited edition, dreaming and doing, things like that. Make time for yourself. Yeah. Butterfly repeats up here with his little hearts, her little hearts. And a light blue dotted, so it's that same dotted texture that was in the color bars, but this time just a full page with navy and blue flowers here. Now, there's a few more that I don't have. So I don't have the one where the candy elements are all falling down, and I don't have prop table, which is this color scheme, but with motifs. So there's one specialty and 24 plain. Let's see what I've got. 1. This is riveting. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah? So there are more to come. Okay. Quick little look at the paper pads before we look at what extras I've got here. Oh, these silly stickers. I don't have the peach. Yeah, so there is a whole peach paper that says love this and has flowers. I don't have that one, so I was going to match it across all the different ink pads, but I don't have it. So that one has not arrived here yet. The only reason I don't have everything, this has come from Halo Magpie, and they haven't got their whole order, but they didn't want to hold it and make me wait. So they, yeah, so I don't have the white one with falling leaves, but it is in here. So I'm going to show it to you in here. Okay, so the 12 by 12 has gold foil, which is not on the individual sheets. And it's 48 papers, which is 24 designs twice. Yeah, but they're single-sided. And sometimes we want to see the difference in the colors. Is pretty close. Here you can see this is darker. But sometimes the navy's look really off. So here's the difference in the two peaches. This one's actually a bit more saturated. The blue, this navy is a bit more to the blue side than to the indigo side, but I mean, it's pretty close. Okay. I know some people like to see the difference. It's because it's a different paper stock and this is single-sided. And there also, is this still the case? It used to be made in different places. Yeah. Single sheets are made in the USA. Paper pads are made in China. There you go. All right, so we have that. This one has gold foil on the floral, and we have a gold foil Love This border at the top. I don't have this one in the individual sheets, so it's like a bam pow Batman kind of thing. On navy, rainbow. Here's the heart print. So the peach in the single sheets has these hearts, but with the words Love This scripted in. This is just the hearts, and it's all in gold foil on pink. The Look Up leaves, the blue sky clouds, the rainbow cameras, the purple tonal, the butterflies now with gold foil. So all their little hearts and dots and details are in, well, not, some of the hearts are red, but lots of little hearts and details are in gold foil. And also there are some butterflies have the little pow that we just saw on the other pattern paper. The ledger, the green dot grid, sunflowers. Here it feels more blue, less indigo with teal. The purple starry sky is now purple with gold, gold foil stars. Give the foiled papers a wiggle. There we go. See them being shiny. Here's one I don't have here. So it's like a falling leaf, but they're not all autumn leaves. Some of them are tulips. Yeah, so go with something that's going to be like a box and stack it. I'm just going to keep doing this because apparently this is the design concept that makes sense to me, is put something here. And I mean like a 4x6 photo with a paper stack behind it, and then you're going to let a lot of this background breathe. You're going to have something that's floating here, and everything that you add to the page is going to be attached to that. And then the background just stays on its own. The orange and peach dot. Oh, I don't have this one. Okay, so this is also obviously in the individual, and it has lines that you could write on, and you could use it all together and just do a composition that comes out in these rays, or you could cut all of these apart and use them as individual writing pieces. Yeah. This one I don't have. It's a pink crosshatch tonal B-side. This plaid now with foil. Woo. Reminds me of fabric I had for a dress when I must have been about 13. The papery, paintery circles, color bars. This cut apart now with gold foil. So most of the lettering in foil. Also, I believe, slightly different colors. Yeah. So, purposely like a different color variation here. Obviously these very different, but like we've changed the blue to green, the purple to navy, pink to green, orange to red, blue to purple. Yeah, so those two, they end up different. Lightning bolts are gold foil as well. And we start again. Hold on then. Was that halfway through? Or is there more? How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. No, that was 24. Okay, cool. So you get 2 each of those. They're single-sided, but they have foil and some different colors in there. And then the small paper pad is 6 by 8. Also has gold foil. It's a mix of stuff you can write on and smaller scaled patterns. I'm going to see if I can do this without cutting the sticker because I always end up tearing the covers. Oh, and there's a sample layout on here. There we go. It has long-haired WB. That was the day he chopped his hair off. That was the before photos. All right. Yeah, I'm happy with the color in the 12 by 12 pad. They have been inconsistent over time, but I'm happy with that one. Yeah, color looks good. And it's not too thin either. Just a little bit thinner than this, not much in it. Okay, so we have rainbows scaled down, color bars, but now with gold foil cameras with hearts. Dotty dot, butterflies, these all scaled down. Plaid, the navy blue sky, but now with some of the stars in gold foil. Clouds, but a bit smaller. The rainbow wood grain stripe, but smaller. Peach and yellow floral, but smaller. That kind of retro star. Some of the stars are gold foiled there. Lavender crosshatch, which I don't think I have in the 12 by 12 yet. The bullseye, but off center and smaller so that you can write in that size if you like. This one now with splats of gold because I needed to get gold mist splats somewhere in there, so I did it here. Turquoise and aqua dots. Nick at Night. Then this is probably my favorite. So this is now scaled down and changed a little bit because remember the 12-inch ruler was 12 inches in pink. It's now a 6-inch ruler. It's not just shrunk down and says 12. It's a 6-inch ruler and it's in blue wood grain. So we've changed the color of certain pieces here. We've added gold foil and the cut apart pieces are now all really tiny. So many tuckies. I love it. Yeah, so get that. But yeah, I've changed the color of this one as well. The tiny grid shrunk down makes it even tinier. You won't be able to write individual lines on that. You could write like per box instead of per line. This one, however, you can write on. So it's got a gold foil celebrate on top of the rainbow down here, but then boxes to have writing lines on top of wood grain background. Then we start again. So that is that one, and that is 18 designs twice. So you get 36 pages. Okay, that's all the paper that I've got. And I've got 8 minutes. So we have purple Fitzgeralds. They're not called Fitzgerald anymore, and so we're going to have to remember that they're now called main character if you're looking for them somewhere. But they are the same font as Fitzgerald, which is still has remained available in gold since my very first collection. We have also done, but is no longer available, we've done it in black foam, turquoise glitter, red glitter. I don't think we did it in white foam because Amy had a very similar alpha in white foam, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So we did it in those different colors. So currently you can get gold glitter and purple glitter. They are on, it's glitter on foam, and you get a couple asterisks in there too and a set of brackets, and it's a nice iridescent purple, and I'm just really happy with that. Yay. There's also a second set of thickers that I don't have yet, which is probably what I feel is my piece de resistance. It's all handwritten stuff. It's in a lot of gold glitter, but also some colored chipboard pieces. I've crammed in as many dots and stars and shapes and everything that I can. It has the phrase a little bit dramatic as a nice big gold glitter title that I cannot wait to see on people's pages. But it also has this big heart with a gap in it and different words that you can fit in the gap to make your title. But it hasn't arrived at Hey Little Magpie yet, so I don't have it. But I'm really, really happy with how that one came out. And a little behind the scenes information was that when I designed that one, I fully expected to send in all of the phrases and stuff and have like 75% of it rejected. And they didn't. They kept it all, and it has made my year. Okay, so I hope you like that too. In fact, the handwritten phrase stickers that are turquoise glitter from Glitter Girl, they remain available at Walmarts across America. If Walmart would like to update their order to the gold handwritten stickers, I would be totally cool with that too. You get more stickers on the page. These are the 6x12 stickers. Happy to report they are cardstock and not clear. I repeat, they are not clear. This is the thing that gets me very, very nervous because once it was supposed to be cardstock and it came out clear, and I'm not a fan of clear stickers. I was very sad. These are cardstock plus gold foil. Lots of little pieces, some borders, popsicles. That's that's the other side of the peach. Love this. It's those. Yeah, lots of tuckies there. A couple little birds of happiness too. Things should be in good numbers for balancing stuff. So, you know, you've got 3 butterflies. You should have 3 cameras if I remember correctly. Why am I only seeing 2? 1, 2. Did I mess up? Sometimes these things happen. We've got a few florals to tuck underneath. This title that you could use together. If you have a tiny person that you want to scrapbook, you could do Sweet Little Dreamer, but they're 2 separate stickers, so they don't have to be one title. Make sense? Okay. Teeny tiny puffies that make me happy. Oh, Elaine says ice lollies, not popsicles. It's true. I've now started, I do normally say ice lollies, and if I went to a shop here, I would definitely say ice lollies. But working with American Crafts, apparently I now called them popsicles because I went through meetings with calling them popsicles. Anyway, puffies. And the thing I'm most happy about here is that the handwritten words shrunk down nice and clear to be such a teeny tiny little puffy. They're not super tall either, so they won't bend your page protectors or anything, and they'd be fine in a planner. Yeah, so you've got cameras, you've got butterflies, rainbows, birds, and lots of little phrases, and you've also got clouds, suns, stars, lightning bolts. Yeah. Right. Stamps that are designed to layer. So you've got 2 different journaling boxes plus a line so that you could just stamp as many journaling lines as you want. And then these stamps that you can then layer over your journaling box or use individually. And you've got stamps that will work as confetti. So you've got tiny little heart on an angle, and you've got stars on an angle. Bigger camera butterfly. And you've got these little words that fit in the gaps up here. So you've got noted today and, and the story that would fit in this box here or this box here. I'm sorry that I was off camera there. Whoops. So there we go. Sophia's just got her order. Postie's just been to her house and it's not her neighbors complaining either. Enamel stickers. There's hearts, dots, and then this kind of curvilinear square, inverted curvilinear square. Or is it just a curvilinear square? Anyway, like a retro diamondy kind of thing. In shades of pinks, blues, greens, turquoise, and gold glitter, you get both sides. So this side, you may see it hanging if you buy in a real store and be like, oh, that price point is kind of high for one packet, but it's because you get both sides. That's not a mistake. That's correct. And then this one, wooden buttons up here. Happy, being kind is cool, star, so cool, all about me. a little rainbow of enamel dots here, and then just some little rhinestones in the middle. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's, oh, and the washi. Okay. And Georgia wanted to know, does anybody still use washi tape? The washi tape community is now the planner community. So much so. Oh, Melissa is going to use the little bit dramatic title for her daughter who just played Sharpay in a summer performance of High School Musical 2. I love that so much. I'll give you 3 guesses. Who asked for me to put a little bit dramatic into the phrases of the collection? His name may start with a W. Okay, so the washi tape includes a gold glitter, the butterflies on a striped background, the stripes, love this on hot pink or magenta, a floral on peach, the navy blue starry sky, a rainbow with the clouds, so rainbow and cloud rather than snowy clouds, and a purple tonal dot. Yep. But yeah, washi is still big with people who do planners and people who write letters and put them in the post. People still do that. Yeah, if you haven't used it on scrapbook pages in a while, maybe you want to bring it back. But if you don't and you're wondering who still uses it, that's who uses it. There we go. Now, there's more to it than that. There's die cuts and more papers, and there's a card set and some other stuff. But that was my actual first walk through and first time I've seen any of Main Character Energy in person. Thank you for joining me for this madness. There'll be a new Best of Both Worlds kit on Friday, and there will be some of that in it, whatever scrapbook.com has enough of, and then I'll work my way from there. It won't be all my collection. It'll be mixed with other collections. Okay, it's pouring down with rain, and I gotta go back to the West End to collect my singing, dancing small person. If you enjoyed this walkthrough and the actual raw emotion that you got to see, and you want to give it a thumbs up, I'd be truly honored, and I give you many, many hearts for your patience and support in this main character just experience. I look forward to seeing all the things that you make with this. I look forward to making stuff with it to show you and to put it in my album and all of those things. Krista says she loves the layered stickers. Yeah, I don't have the layered stickers. That is fancy. The layered stickers are quite fancy. Okay, I think that's everything. Thanks. I'll see you soon. I'll be live Friday. Yeah. Thank you for joining me. Bye, bye.